Yeah. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. We are your hosts, platinum producers, Arkatech Beats. I'm Jugrnaut,
I am Mike Trauma D.
and every week we get together and we do the Arkatech Beats Music Business Podcast. We talk about various subjects inside of the music industry to help independent artists, independent producers, songwriters, etc., on basically how to navigate the music business, how to make things easier, and just various topics that affect hip hop culture, music culture in general, entertainment business. So today we want to do something a little bit different. I think our previous episode was talking about uh rappers basically being in danger and um rappers being hurt, robbed, um killed,
Targeted pretty much.
targeted pretty much.
Yeah.
And today we wanted to talk about, is hip hop music destroying the black community currently?
Mm,
And
tough one.
it's a tough one because it's always been a business or a culture that basically saved our lives, right? If we think about it coming from the inner cities. But
Right.
you know, it seems like now it's going in the reverse. And we wanted to talk about it, touch on it, get people's feedback. So, let's jump into it. Is hip hop music destroying the black community? Let's talk about it.
Oh man. It's a tough one, man, because there's so many layers to it. You can look at it from a record label standpoint of who's profiting off the music. The kind of music that's being made. The effects it's having in our community, and hip hop was always music that kind of it showed what was happening in the neighborhood, what was happening in our communities. It was a little bit of a cry for help, you know, but it brought things to light. It brought things that was happening around that the rest of the world probably wasn't privy to. A lot of social unjust, a lot of just unfair treatment going on in the neighborhoods, and things that politicians should even take a look at. So it was really, really just sort of a cry for help, and just sort of it displayed what was going on. Um, if you look back from Public Enemy and NWA, Ice T, a lot of those records that were being put out from these artists in the early days was just showing a lot about police brutality, was showing the poor conditions in their neighborhoods, things that they had to endure, growing up in these environments, gang culture, um, a lot of things. And, some things have changed, but for the most part, not enough, you know. Now we fast forward to now, and it just seems like it's some sort of repeating cycle. We're displaying images, uh, promoting music that's just, I don't know,
Just just say it. It's destructive at this point.
it is it's destructive. And I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, man, because you know Jug, we come from an era where we enjoy aggressive music. We enjoyed music that was, I mean, we hip hop is a battle kind of arena where it's braggadocious, and the goal as an MC is to destroy the other MC. Your competitor is very competitive, you know. And even some of the raps were in a competitive nature, and they used a lot of the street jargon, the street code, the street lingo to equate to battling the MC. Like, I'm gonna kill you. You didn't necessarily mean that. You meant that I'm gonna kill you as an MC. I'm gonna destroy you as an MC. And somewhere along the lines, it went from um, that to actually doing it in real life. It went from I'm gonna destroy you as an MC, I'm gonna kill you as an MC, to no, I'm gonna and I see you, I'm gonna really come for you. You know, I'm gonna, you know, so I don't know, man. It's just changed. And these little kids are impressionable, and they listening to this music, and they growing up on it, and they're following it. Instead of taking that information and saying, man, that's messed up, you know, I want to do better, they're taking in it, they're idolizing it, they want to be a part of it, they want to continue it. And it's hard to like what do you do? You know what I'm saying? What do you do? Because at the same time, it's like, yo, we're adults now. We were kids. That there's that thing. Oh, it's easy to say that now because you're an adult and you got kids. But when you were a young teen running around, it was all good, right? So where do you draw the line and say, nah, still it's damaging our community? Where do you draw the line?
It's basically you saying we got our fun already, right? We was able to enjoy it, and we was able to do what we did, and now we turning this to them old folks pointing the finger saying, oh, it's destroying the community, but we weren't thinking about that when we were doing it when we were younger. And that's valid. It's a valid argument to have when you think about that. It's been weighing on me for a while. I've been really thinking about it because it's like, as producers, it's like we help to influence the culture. We help to influence the music that comes out, right? We decide.
Yeah, we create that backdrop.
Right. How fast or slow it's going to go. If it's going to sound, how grimy will it sound? How mean will it sound? In some cases, we say we wanted to sound evil. You know what I mean? Like you just wanted to, we'll pick these chords that, set certain emotions forth, and the content now, like you said, I guess can we say that it's actually the same?
The content?
Can we say that? Can we say
no?
Listen, if we're talking about let me finish. If we're talking about, like, say, Onyx, if we're talking about, let's say, MOP, Mobb Deep,
no,
NWA,
no,
it's not the same.
I'm gonna say why. Because those artists were rapping that stuff, but they weren't targeting people individually. With the gang culture now, artists are getting on the microphone and they're talking about specific people in their neighborhoods, real situations.
Right.
They're making like these drill records are records based to antagonize someone in your neighborhood. These records weren't meant to be something that was supposed to pop. These records are created specifically as background music and records to antagonize the quote unquote ops, the quote unquote people that you have beef with, so that they could hear those records, so they could see the disrespect. Like, it has a specific purpose. Onyx, Throw Your Guns in the Air, that was just loose raps, loose it showed guns and things in the videos. Even Mobb Deep, MOP, and these are my favorites. It was never like specific like how it is now, where artists are actually targeting other artists, where they're mentioning other artists by names, when they're mentioning their crews by names, and
the crews are actually in the street,
right? And that's why it has become so dangerous. That's the difference, that I would say. Yeah, we love aggressive music, but when you start naming people's names, when you start saying their names, when you start associating with certain crimes that happen, when you're actually on, records admitting to murders that are
opposition.
When you're antagonizing people who really died, and you're on video doing songs and videos on the cemeteries, and peeing on their graves, like it's this is something else. This has gone way past just rapping and battling MCs and talking trash about your opponent. You know, this is a whole nother level of disrespect. So that's why I can't say it's the same. The aggressive content has always been the same, but the level of aggressiveness, the actual words that are being used, the descriptions, it's and the purpose is totally different.
When do these artists realize that it's a murky road? At what point do we say, okay, I go down this road. This road has claimed the lives of A, B, C, E, you know, so many different artists coming up, right? Because I'm doing the same thing everybody else doing to kind of get my name out there, cloud chase, whatever. But most cases, it's leading up to either people are getting killed, or the newest thing now is the RICO charges. Like the RICO situation right now is it's you know, feds coming. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like law enforcement is coming. So, you know, when you see all of this happening, like at what point do the artists wake up and say, okay, maybe we need to start kind of changing course? Why isn't it self-correcting itself? Why is it still going down? You know, then you got the people who coming up now, the Charleston Whites, right? The ones who are out here basically saying, fuck all you rappers. He's basically going as far as saying, hey, rappers and gang culture is worse than lynchings and slavery, damn near. You know what I'm saying? Like the effects on the community, the amount of black people that are getting killed behind it all. You know, they're basically saying there's more gang shootings than lynchings in American history. How can you even equate the two? Like,
I think when you're, you know, you got to think about the times when you were a teenager and you were running around. Like you didn't want to hear nothing the elders
none of that
say.
shit.
You
Right.
know,
You don't hear none of that shit.
you kind of gotta put your mind in that frame, and you know what was important to you, what type of lifestyle you were living. You know, when you're in it, you're not thinking about all the other stuff. When you're in it, when you're involved, sometimes you don't even know how you got into it. You're just in it. I don't know how we got beef with those with that set over there, but we here, we in it. We just trying to get through it. You know, they're not necessarily thinking about all the other stuff. You know, especially if it's a lifestyle where they're used to it, where people are dying every day or being locked up. If it's a lifestyle that they've accustomed to or they've grown into, they were born into, you know, if their parents were a part of that, it's just a lifestyle, you know. And sometimes, I think that we glorify artists that honestly aren't the best artists to glorify or to put on this pedestal. Like, is this who you choose to be your leader? This is you know who you choose to follow. That person doesn't necessarily got it together. You know, that person hasn't even hasn't done anything in their life outside of music to make you think that they are worthy of being followed as far as accomplishments. You know, some hasn't finished school or has a certain level of education. You know, but here they go um, on this pedestal, kind of telling you what to do. And this is the people who you choose to listen to follow, to you know.
It's funny you say that because I saw a clip the other day of Malcolm X, and he says basically he was saying something toward a degree that only in the black community are entertainers propped up as social leaders. It's like you like name an entertainer of a different community that's the leader of that community. That those these are the last people that should be leading the community. That was his point. Was saying basically as entertainers and sports figures, they should be the last people. Whereas in the other communities, they're led by politicians, right? And
Yeah,
lawyers. You know what I'm saying? Versus on our side, we're being the thought leaders are the entertainers, and it's kind of like it was kind of mind-boggling when I thought about it, and I said this is probably where a lot of the problems are. Is that it's like almost a blind leading the blind?
Well, that happens really because we don't either we don't have those type of people, or they're not highlighted enough, like our lawyers and the black lawyers and doctors, they're not highlighted enough. What's seen in the community is as success is the person that's flaunting it, the person that is physically showing the cars, the jewelry. That's success to a kid, the NBA player who made it. Like, we as a community always rally around the people who made it out of the hood, and usually it's by entertainment, for that's, or at least that's what's showcased, you know. And
You have to start asking if that's by design.
yeah, I believe so. So those things are highlighted. So, and that's all we see. We see either the NBA player as success, or for a short time the common drug dealer who got the fancy cars, the jewelry, does what they want, got the girls. We grow up and we see those things, and we look at that as, oh, I want that. That's success. We don't see the lawyers, we don't see the doctors, we don't see like all of those things, and them coming through the hood and looking like, yeah, I got it. We don't see that. We see, oh, they did all of these years in school to be a doctor, and they still paying off for their bill. They still paying off for the loans. That's what we see. So popularity goes hand in hand with influence.
Right.
When a person is
Right.
popular, you know, it's easier for them to influence. So when you see a person like LeBron James, who's popular, and he stands next to a product or whatever, then companies use him as an influencer. Um, Unfortunately, the things that are influencing us in the neighborhoods, aren't necessarily the best things.
And it's like there's a bunch of things that are going on right now musically. Like you said, gang culture, heavy in the music now. Like you said, going back and forth with the ops, heavy in the music now. For the ladies, it's damn near promotion of prostitution. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like like that's how far it's going. Um, it's like my kids can't even enjoy this music at this point. Like there's literally nothing for them in it. Like literally, like if I'm in a car ride, like it's like an absolute no fly zone with them in this music.
Well, in all fairness, you know, hip hop music was never really for kids anyway. In all fairness,
But I would say that they would always be something that you could listen to.
maybe a clean version, but they don't even
Nah,
have
not
much of
even a
that.
clean version. If we're talking about going like maybe, you know, if we're talking like, the tribes of the world, like,
Hmm.
I have to go way back. You know what I'm saying? Like I got to go back. Like I may be able to pay some old Far Side or something like that. You know what I mean? Something,
Hmm.
93 to
Right,
infinity, something that was just guys rapping, maybe about a little weed, but
right.
nothing too
Like
detrimental.
like like some like just some fun hip hop.
Right. Like all of that is just like gone. Like there's like, you know what I'm saying? Like it seems like all of it is gone. You may have, a few artists that may be a little bit, the J. Cole's of the world, a few artists, but you got to go way back to get something that's even, halfway clean that doesn't have some sort of negative commentary. And it's just like, how do we get from a music that was supposed to, like you said, inspire and uplift, change people's lives, to now it's just become like completely dark. It's become completely, a situation where we are putting on a pedestal, like I said, prostitution, drug use, lean use, alcohol use. It's like everything that we're, killing It's like everything now is just that's negative has been put up, and then the other part of it too, which I don't think we put enough credit into, is the fact that everything has a visual now. Before, you only probably had 3 visuals for an album, right?
Hmm.
That's not the case anymore. There's visuals for almost every single song that's coming out, and it's coming out at a very, very high clip. And if anything, if you and I can attest to it, the visuals affect you differently than just the music itself. When you start to see how it all comes together,
Hmm.
um, when you see it, it can that's what influences you the most is what they see. It's like, and I think the powers that be always knew that, visuals create reality. And we've been like inundated and drunk with it. And it's just coming in at a high clip, and it's just like sensory overload. And then by the time you're scrolling, by the time you're IG and you're TikToking or you're on YouTube, it's like you're consuming it at such a different rate now. Like, how could it not affect you? And then you become addicted to it. Like, honestly, I start to realize that, you know, you can't go outside and don't see a person with their phone in their hand.
Yeah. Or go to a restaurant and you see everybody at the restaurant table not even talking, but they're all on their phones.
On their phone. Can't get it out. And then it's just like, if you're into this music at this point, if you're a young person, it's like it's sensory overload. It's like, how do you get back to your own thoughts? How do you even know what you're thinking is what you're thinking? Like, how do you know you're not being, like somebody was saying to me the other day, they was like, hey, I hate this predictive text. Is it
Yeah.
predictive text or is it telling you what to type?
Wow. Yeah.
Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is it telling you what to type versus, like, I wasn't going to say it like, well, let me say it that way. It seems better. Like, is it telling you what to do? Is it telling you what to watch? Is it directing you on how to feel? Like the devices are literally controlling you, and like the music is controlling the youth at this point, and the youth don't understand what's going on. And there's a damn near whole World War III getting ready to kick off. Like, and how can our community, with so much money passing through our community, how can our community be still so far behind? Like, literally stagnant, literally flat on the decline, economically, you know, like it's back almost in the same places where we were in the 50s and 60s. Like, how is that even possible?
Oh man. Like there's so many things that's in play here, and there's so many levels to it as well that there's things happening that we can't even understand, that's going on. And if you really think about it, man, and you look at our communities, man, I think one of the number one things also is the breakup of homes, the breakup of families. Like these kids right now, man, like for the most part, there's no positive role models. They're all in, men are in prison, like at the rates are just ridiculous. So who do you look up to? The rapper, you
Yeah.
know,
You'll
and then
have people that admit to that. They say that Jay-Z raised them.
and then you're looking up to rappers who don't have, like, they're not in any good position. They haven't done anything. Some of these rappers are straight up criminals, and that's who you're looking up to. That's who you're getting your advice from.
Yeah.
Like at least there was a time where okay, you had a lot of different artists that you could choose from with all sorts of different kinds of experience, different kinds of education level. Like you had just a little of everything. You had your mob, you have your tribe, you have your Queen Latifahs, you had if you wanted some raunchy, you had your Luke still.
Right.
But you had just so much. It was like gumbo. You had so much to choose from depending on how you feel. If I want raunchy, I'm gonna listen to this. If I want thug, I got this. If I want a street, I got this. But if I want positive uplifting, I got this. If I wanted some jewels, some wisdom, I got this. Like, and it was just so much in each category, so that it wasn't just you just getting this kind of music day in, day out. That's all you're getting. The algorithm is just giving you that. You know, it's to the point where, you know, I remember like when we would travel a lot and go to different regions, we would expect to hear a certain type of music in each region. Now, like you go to each region, it's the same kind of music being forced down your throat. You go to Atlanta, it's the same as New York. You go to New York, it's the same as Chicago. Like the the music is the same, and it's for the most part it is giving you the same content. You know, and
I would ask, how is that even possible right now when
I
we have the advent of independent music? We got music being released. They say basically almost 100,000 songs a day being
it's
uploaded. So the
because
question is, if we have all of these people that's making music, how the hell is all of this on the same?
what's happening is people are copying each other, and you want to meet the algorithm. So what happens is, let's say a drill record is popular, and it gets popular by a lot of different ways. It could get popular because the content is in the news from something that actually happened. You know, the artist got arrested. You know, all these things help deliver a story. So let's say this drill record, you know, and I don't want to just pick on drill music, but it is what it is. Let's say this drill record is popular. It's popping. It you know, it goes viral. This record is all over the radio now. A lot of streams. So every artist is looking at the success of this record and saying, you know what? I need a record that's going to be as successful as that record. That's number one. Number two, the DJs that's playing these records in clubs and all of that, that's playing the popular record. The next record they go to, it got to be able to blend. They got to be able to match. You know, when they're going from set to set, when they're going to song, they're trying to mix in the record that's comparable to the record they just played to keep the party going, to keep the vibe going, whatever. So they're looking for that net record that quote unquote sounds like that record without telling you it sounds like it, but something that meets the tempo, the vibe. It's pretty much the same record, right? Then you have the algorithms. I'm talking about streaming services. You know, when you're looking at this content, this drill record, it's going to suggest the next record that's similar to that record.
Right.
Okay, so you got all of these things in play for you to create music that sounds like the last record. So that is why there's almost no originality. Everybody's copying each other. You know, everybody's using the same quote unquote uh, mixes, drill mixes, beat packs, vocal mix packs, uh, even AI. All these AI programs also. In order to use AI programs, you got to load it up with
The stuff you
content,
want it to be
right?
like. Yep. So it can
Right.
mirror it. Yep.
So you got all these things going on that's actually promoting you to sound like the next person. So that's where we are. You're gonna sound like the next person. The algorithm is created for you to sound like the next
And
person
stay in the loop.
and stay there. When you playlists,
Yeah, it's gonna keep
it's
you there.
all it's off a specific vibe,
Yep.
right? They have playlists that are themed. If you want to make that theme that has 3 million, 4 million streams, you got to make music that falls in line with that.
So basically, it's the algorithm destroying us.
Yeah, the algorithm and the infrastructure. Yeah, because before we had, if you think about it, before we had quote unquote digital that type of algorithm, you had DJ live playlists.
Gatekeepers. Yeah. So the
Yeah,
gatekeepers would decide what would make it through, and
yeah,
you had some sort of system of checks and balances, and now that's been removed.
yeah, because you're now promoted and you're rewarded for keeping the algorithm.
Yeah.
You know, if you make a record that sounds like nothing else, nobody's gonna hear it. It's gonna be removed. There's no playlist to put it on.
Because it doesn't fit.
There's no data. on where to put it.
That's an interesting point you're making, because even if you're trying to say you're an independent artist and you're an artist that wants to make something that's totally different from what's going on right now. You say, hey, you say, hey, enough of this shit. I want to do something that's not detrimental to the community. I want to do music that sounds like nothing else, is uplifting and so forth and so on, but it doesn't have a category. It doesn't have a name. Like, even if you wanted to promote it on, like, on using ads or so forth and so on, you would have to put in what it sounds like or who it sounds like, so that it could target the right people that may be interested in it. And to your point, like, if it doesn't sound like anything, or if it doesn't remind the system or the algorithm how to place it or where it should go or who should be able to listen to it, you can't even set it up the way you want to set it up for you to find people to listen to what you want to listen to. So it's interesting that you say that, because now that starts to make a lot of sense as to why it just seems to just be stuck in this dark cloud mode, right? And every day you turn it up, you turn on the news, either somebody's house is getting broken into. They said this Megan Thee Stallion house just got robbed. Like, can you imagine what would happen if she was home?
Oh man,
what they said almost $300,000 to $400,000 of cash, jewelry, and electronics. Like, what's going on? So between P&B Rock being murdered, the RICO charges now, there's was it Sue Surf? This called a RICO charge.
Yep.
Like, it looks like, hey, it looks like it's working. Meaning if you were trying to, and I hope this doesn't put us in some sort of weird conspiracy theory light, but if you were trying to eradicate a culture, you found the means and the mechanism to do so, and you do it from the inside out.
So the question remains: okay, if we're privy to what's going on, as far as the OGs, the gatekeepers, certain people in power, like, and even some quote unquote, I guess, woke artists, what do we do in order for it to change? I mean, the only thing that I'm seeing that may, and I hate to say this, the only thing that may happen that may benefit the actual culture, honestly, is these RICO cases. Like some of these artists, and I hate to say, some of these artists that's involved in some heavy issues, they may get removed out the game.
Well, yeah, it's going to purge itself, right? But the question is, as it's purging itself, how many people do we lose? That's collateral damage on the side while it's purging itself, because it's going to purge itself.
Right?
That's why you have, like I said, the Charleston Whites. He's calling police on everyone. He's going to threaten you, right? And he's not threatening you. He's basically saying that what you guys are doing is a detriment to the community and to young people, and I'm exposing you guys for what you are. Meaning, I'm exposing the fact that your music is all negative. I'm exposing the fact that all you're doing is promoting violence and drug use. I'm promoting the fact that you guys are promoting, promiscuity and everything else that's wrong. That you're not supporting nuclear family, that you're breaking everything up. You're trying to put men in prison, right? You're creating the environment for that. I'm going to expose it to the point where people get fed up, right? And then people say, well, how does stuff like the 94 crime bill happen? This is how it happens. It's like the folks get so fed up with all of the things that's going on. We used to say, hey, just lock everybody up, and that's not, I don't know if that's the answer, right? I don't know if that's the answer. The answer, there's a real systemic issue, like we just finished talking about. It's like, hey, we just flooded you with the algorithm. The algorithm is the only way that you can become successful. But in order for you to be part of the algorithm, you got to make this music sound the way to sound like this. Your music got to sound like this. You got to basically be killing your ops in these songs if you want to make it to this playlist, right? So now, if you're looking at a person who's trying to get out of the ghetto, right here we are now. We're just doing what we think to do to get out of it, not realizing that we're really contributing to the psychosis that people are in. Because right now it's a psychosis. You can tell people to do anything online and they're going to do it. It's like almost like literally programming of a system. It's like if you tell people that this is what's popping, they just like drones. This is what's popping, you know. And you know, if this is the new social thing to do right now, this is the social issue that we have. People are just like drones. Like you can't.
I can't help think about Young Thug and Gunna, you know, in that YSL camp, you know, that's an entire like the amount of music and a lot of contributions they brought to the music game, you know, the artists, the music, and to think that there's a possibility of that entire thing being removed, like.
But it's more than just them. If you think about it,
right? It's
because
the family. Like there's a lot.
If you think about the people that died,
yeah,
right. YFN Lucci, right? He's not dead, but he's in prison, right? He's still in prison right now. You got the like you said, Gunna. You got Thug, and then who else right now is either facing RICO situations, but it's like like you said, it's like a cascading effect that people got to be on notice. But at the same time, like, come on, like we would just whole communities being destroyed, bro. Like you can't even go to Atlanta anymore. Like I moved to Atlanta 2007, and to me it was relatively safer than being in New York, in my opinion. Like now it's not even close. It's probably more dangerous. Like how did this happen?
But it's like that. But it's like that in every Democratic,
in every hood, right? Like every
Democratic shit. But we're not gonna go there.
You can't go there. You can't go there. They're gonna ban your channel. It's like they're gonna ban your channel. But you know what I'm saying. But people can't see that. People can't see that. It's this is what's between this and there's no checks and balances, man. Like this, just like you said, like this is no checks and balances for hip hop culture right now. Like there's no checks and balances. Everything can't go, bro.
Yeah.
Like everything can't go. Like in life, everything can't go. Like you can't drink Hennessy every day. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't. You know what I'm saying? Like there are limits to everything. Like it's just can't just go unabated and uncontrolled. Like it's just go, and it's like people don't realize it's destructive.
You know what I was thinking the other day? I was like, in order for a female rapper to be successful today, they have to twerk.
Yeah, their ass gotta be out. Like I don't even know how it got there.
Like that seems to be a requirement now. Like
it has to be out. It has to be out, and it has to be in the most provocative and explicit as it can be. Right? I have a daughter, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like I got a daughter that likes to put words together that can potentially rap. But I have to ask myself a question, like if she used to get into this, is that the road? Is that the road to success? Like, is that the road to success? How can a father be proud of that?
Yeah, I mean, these are some real topics. Some real things that not everybody's really talking about. They just kind of sweep it under the rug and just see that's how it is. Like I'm thinking about the newest artist. Who's the newest artist? Ice Spice. And you know.
It's a nice little song, man. It is what it is.
But
You know what I'm saying?
throughout the video, she got to bend over. Like you know, and that's no disrespect to her or her team or anybody, but I see that constant thing. Like I see that in, like, you know, a female rapper's popping, and you watch the video, and at some point in the video, she gotta turn around and show her ass. She gotta bend over and show her ass. Like that's a okay. We got that.
That's where
You
we are.
know,
That's where we are.
And for hip hop artists, it just seems like okay. At one time, like it used to be like, okay, one of the requirements is you got to show your artillery in the video. Like it was always that same scene, the guys on the block, and everybody got the hammers out. Right. You know, like that was like checklist, and it was like
because it's programming, bro. You see what I'm saying? Like we just said it's programming.
Yeah, algorithm.
It's the algorithm. It's literally we programming each other what to do on like you said, like before we said you have to have your rapper costume on.
Yeah.
For ladies, their rapper costume is a little bit less, right? So if you're a female rapper, you got to have this different kind of costume that eventually got to show your body in some capacity. It's no longer about the melodies, the skill of your rapping, you know, maybe the aggressive, maybe your voice tone, maybe like, you know what I'm saying? Like, granted, like, you know, the little kids and Foxy and they've always been sexy in their joints, but it's just gotten to a different level now.
But is that because visual has increased so much, content has increased? Because you think about it, you know, there wasn't no social media, no YouTube.
Right, you didn't have access to it 24 hours a day.
Yeah, there was that. So the focus on that type of content didn't really matter because it wasn't there. But now when you have content and the algorithm, you know, trying to match up content so they can know what to show you next. If this is popular, and this has 3 million views, and then and that record or that video has the artist, the female artist, bending over, twerking, doing all that provocative, it's only going to promote the next video that shows something similar, you know. And so it actually visually is the same thing as you were saying with the rap content. You know, there's an algorithm for that, and it really makes you wonder who really owns these companies. You know, that's.
It makes you wonder, like, who controls your culture? Like, who controls your culture?
Who controls your culture?
That's what's happening right now. Who controls your culture? Is your culture really determined by the AI? Like, who controls rap culture? Who controls hip hop culture right now?
Who's benefiting? Who's profiting the most off of hip hop culture?
You can say who's profiting the most, but you know the profiting basis it leads back to the people who are in control of it. You know, they've created a system of control through the algorithm. Like you said, it's like if you don't fit this criterion, you don't get on these platforms, right? So, but this is the thing that's become very, very apparent. Only black folks can do this. You get it? Meaning, like, only like if you wanted to, you know, be a black rapper, and then, you know, everybody that's twerking in the videos were, say, of different denominations. Let's say that they were outside of being black and Hispanic. Let's say that we wanted to put, you know, all, you know, you know who Kanye's talking about right now. All of those type of folks in the joint. It wouldn't get part of the out. It wouldn't get pushed. It wouldn't get pushed if you replace the black twerkers with other type of twerkers. It wouldn't it wouldn't make the algorithm. Someone would press the decline button and make sure that it never got pushed out. It's because they make sure that anything that is going to be of a detriment and stop their situation from, stop their narratives, they stop them head on. They
So,
don't,
so
they don't, they don't, they don't allow themselves to be, they don't allow other people to perpetuate certain stereotypes of their demographics. They don't allow it, right? But we do it to ourselves, right? They don't allow those things to happen on their platforms. Their platforms will basically, they will railroad and they will bury negative stories about themselves in a heartbeat.
So what do we do as the content providers? As the content providers, as new artists, what do they do when they're trying to get out the neighborhoods? They, they of course want to be popular. They want to, hit that viral, like, and they have that working against them. Like saying, "Hey, you gotta do this, or you gotta sound like this." Like, what do they do? Like, it's a slippery slope.
It's a very slippery slope. I don't really know what folks can do. The only thing that I could see happening is kind of like we said, there's no balance in music, there's no balance in social media. Meaning there's no balance in social media, meaning okay, you got Google, you got this, you got that, you got all these things out here, YouTube, so forth and so on. At some point, black folk have to start reverse engineering the platforms and start creating our own. Like there's no other way. Like you have to start creating alternatives so that you can control your narratives. If you're not doing that, you're at the mercy of the algorithm. You're going to be at the mercy of, you're basically being programmed. Like basically, I hate to say it like that, but like as a father, I have to limit the time that my kids are on, screens.
Yeah.
And then as they get older, you start hearing the terminology and vernacular of the certain shows that they may watch.
Yeah.
So if they're watching, SpongeBob, just to be what you call it, then you hear some of the zany whatever talking as SpongeBob coming through at the dinner table, and you say, "Well, where did that come from?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
So people can't act as if it's not programming. They can't act as if it's not influencing, because that's exactly what it's designed to do. Right. So the question is, how far do we let it go? Because you can't really unplug 100%, right? Because these are the way that, like you said, people are using this to make ends meet. People are using these platforms now to become, to make themselves money and become, whatever. But I think people have to be cognizant of the content. Like there has to be some sort of balance. Like you and I can get on this platform. We could talk about bullshit if we wanted to. We just choose not to.
Right.
But
that comes with, experience and maturity and, reaching a certain level in our life, for the kids who's young and reckless and they think they have forever, or they don't care, or they come from a certain impoverished lifestyle, is and you got to think somebody's, the child's brain isn't fully matured until a certain age anyway. So they're thinking a certain way, and it's difficult. I think things have to be removed. You can't leave it up to a child to lead. You can't leave it up to them to make certain decisions, and that's what's happening. I think some of these things need to be removed. So there needs to be some gatekeepers that say, you know what, this content should not be out there. But at the same time, you're gonna have people saying, well, freedom of speech. Who are you to say that can't be out there? Who are you to say that we can't put that there? It's a wild west.
Listen, there's no freedom of speech anymore, brother. The lie of freedom of speech has been removed. There's a lie, man. That's a lie. That's a lie. If the algorithm can suppress my content, that's not freedom of speech. If the algorithm can pick up the certain words that I'm saying and can prevent it from other people being heard, that's not freedom of speech.
Well,
if a bank can turn around and say, "Hey, I didn't like that you said these three phases," or this is misinformation that was happening with the PayPal thing. If you have misinformation, we're gonna fine you, huh?
Let's say it like this: you have the freedom of speech, but the consequences of this quote unquote.
So basically, you can say it, but there's gonna be consequences and repercussions. Then is it really free? Because you're afraid of you're not free. You're afraid of the backlash. Like, come on, like the way that this thing is going right now, it's like it's a facade. Like, don't tell me that it's freedom of speech and it really isn't. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, you know, to your point, like it's a slippery slope because we want to be able to, you know, control certain things, so forth and so on. But let's be honest. If you go to Japan, you go to China, you go to India, you go to these other cultures, you can't say all that stuff that you want.
Well, they ain't hearing it.
They ain't having it.
Yeah, they got the internet blocked on certain spots.
You understand? If you go to different, you know, Arab nations and stuff like that, this stuff ain't going down, right? And these places like Dubai and all these places like that, they're thriving technologically. They're going like, shoo, they're doing America 2.0, you know, 3.0 on us. Like, so the question has to be, it's like, you know, when we talk about hip hop culture or black community in general, it's like, there's no unifying culture. I've been saying this forever. It's like, don't compare yourselves to a Jamaica. Don't compare yourself to, you know, a country that has a unified culture, right? Or China, or, you know, these places have unified culture and rules. Here is a melting pot of everybody. Right. And although the skin colors look the same, the cultures are not the same. Right? So everybody's doing whatever the fuck they want to do. And now people say, well, why can't you come together? Because you're not together. Right. There's no unifying set of rules.
Yeah.
Like, and then when you do try to create unified set of rules, right? These folks will say, well, oh, you're just trying to be white. You're trying to base your rules on what the white folks' rules are, right? But if the white folks' rules is making their communities rich and they having heaven on earth, like, why not mirror that? Right? Yeah. Like, you're trying to do it on your own and you're trying to create your own culture, which is all over the place. And look what it's doing to your community. It's destroying everything. So the question is, you know, you have to follow some blueprint, especially if they've created the infrastructure.
Right.
So it's just there's these dynamics that you just can't even, like, you see this shit and it's like, yo, I want this music to be able to come out, but I don't want it to destroy the kids.
Right.
No, I want the music to come out. I want this music to be hard. I like this music to be dope. I want people to have fun, but I don't want it to destroy the kids. I don't want my daughter to feel like if she wants to listen to Megan Thee Stallion, she has to feel like she got to twerk. Right? Like why does that have to be the precursor? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, why can't she just enjoy the songs? You know what I'm saying? Why can't the songs just be enjoyable? Why can't the melodies just be dope? But why does it have to always go in these directions that promote the things that are detriments to women? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or detriments to the family, or, you know, that promotes this kind of weird type of prostitution culture. You know, people got to pay before you play. You got to do this before you do this. You got to be out here with the blicky. You got to, you know what I'm saying? Like, this guy is a munch, whatever that means. You know what I'm saying? And then you don't want to be on the platform sounding like an old fogey, like, you know, like, oh, like, you just don't get it. Like, we helped to create this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we helped to create it. So, but again, you know, we let the technology get away from us. You know, like, Jay got the title, which is the Spotify alternative, but we don't promote that.
Yeah.
Why isn't it as big? You know, and it's like, but you know, you can let these algorithms ruin us. You know what I'm saying? YouTube is going to ruin us. It's like, you know, I've been saying, like, World Star, I'm like half of the stuff that's on this platform shouldn't be released.
That's true.
Like, it shouldn't be released. It's like watching the Jeffrey Dahmer situation on Netflix. That stuff shouldn't be released. Like that's true crime. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you trying to inspire the next Jeffrey Dahmer?
But there was a time where
at some point that's what it starts to feel like. Are you trying to inspire the next school shooter? Are you trying to inspire the next drill shooting? Like, what are you trying to do? Like, if you continue to promote it, what else do you think it's going to do? It's not educating people. It's inspiring them to do the wrong thing.
But I do think a good portion of it is, and I don't want to always use this as an excuse, because it seems to be the fad now, mental illness. Because there was a time where, like, like you could put the same movie or play the same record in the classroom, right? Not everybody's gonna respond the same, you know. Like they was, I remember some years ago they were talking about what was it, Terminator, and when all the Schwarzenegger went up into the spot and shot up the police station or whatever the case may
Remember
be.
that?
Yeah. Um, and Hollywood was like, oh, it's just entertainment. It ain't nothing. It ain't, and that doesn't necessarily have to go and inspire those actions, But when you got people who are impressionable or they're not in a good mental space or whatever, you got to take that to consideration as well. Like at what point do you say, okay, this is too far? Like not everybody can view entertainment as entertainment. I know we touched on it when we were saying that there were certain records that are actually really going over the line by actually like naming their targets or calling out certain crimes or saying their involvement or so forth. But in the grand scheme of things, it's like how does a person like who's not like a part of that, how does that person say, okay, that's just entertainment? I'm not gonna take that and apply it to my life as I'm gonna go and be that now. Now I'm gonna go get a gun. Now I'm gonna go and do this because in a record I heard you gotta do this. Like there has to be something at home or something in you that says, nah, this ain't it.
The way that I answer that, most folks may not want to agree with me. They may not believe what I'm saying. But in 2022 and 2023, people are controlled by this. It's no longer critical thinking anymore. People can no longer discern. They can't discern certain things. They can't discern facts from fiction anymore.
Right.
It's gone. It's totally out the window. So now we've taken on a new level. Some people want to they want to put it in. They want to put it in, say, and lump it together as mental illness. But it's by design. It's like this. It's like if you created a situation where people are dependent on the algorithm and they can no longer critically think, then you've created a situation where you can do whatever you want. A long time ago when you and I started we first started, and we started our website initially, and we started blogging initially. And you would ask me, you would say, why are we writing these blogs? Who's going to listen to us? Right? And I'm like, who's going to listen to us? We're writing these blogs. Who's going to listen to us? And I said, bro, it's the internet. Like this was the beginning of it. Like anything you put on it, people will take as fact.
Yeah, that's what I remember. That what I was saying was, I felt like, I'm not a journalist.
But you didn't have to be.
Like what qualifies me to write a blog? Because I don't come from a journalist background. I don't have that schooling.
Right.
And I thought that you needed that in order to write a blog. I thought you needed that criteria, and this might have been an old way of thinking. I'm thinking journalism as in even news and stuff like that. I'm like, I thought that, newspapers, I thought you had to go to school, get some sort of training or certification, something to be an official journalist that would allow you to,
give you the permission.
Right.
To put your opinion out there.
And
but think about social media now. Everybody's like that.
Yeah.
If you got a cell phone, everybody's an influencer.
You can put anything out.
Anything.
And it doesn't, it's like when I saw that, when the reality set in, Like I was really blown away. Like, hold on. So you're telling me that you can create a website and say anything you want to say, and if you have enough followers, they will believe you,
We taking this fact,
even if the information is wrong.
even if the information is
I
wrong.
was like,
but think about that. Think about that on a larger scale.
but that's what's happening now.
That's what's happening. Like that's exactly what's happening. Like if we created a joint and we call it something news, right? Daily, what you call it news. You can do whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you put enough content on it, if you get enough followers, it will be taken as fact. There is no more levels of critical thinking anymore. People do not know how or will not take a piece of information and research it against another piece of information. It's too difficult. Right? And then for our community, remember what the thing that they say, if you want to hide it from us, you put it in a book. All right. So
and here's the new thing. Shout out to the watchers who's still watching. It's what 45 minutes to an
hour in. Like, can you even get to the end?
I've seen posts. Oh, that's too someone trying to explain something in 5 minutes.
That's too long.
And I see comments. That's too long. I ain't reading all of that.
It's like you lost, brother. It's like you already lost. We don't even have the attention capacity to last 5 minutes. Damn. Hence, that's why the TikTok winning like that. 1 minute post, 2 minute post.
Wow.
Like, you know what I'm saying? People getting away from long form content. You got to drill it down into 3 minutes. If you can't get people's attention in the first 7 seconds, you're dead. It's like, this is where we are. Like, this is where the situation is. So when we take the music and we take the algorithms and we take everything, we put it together, it's like a deadly cycle, man. These guys got to figure it out. But again, if you're trying to if you're trying to, keep a community stagnant, or, dare I say, genocide of a community, dare I say that, you're succeeding from the inside out. You got these chicks out here making abortion songs.
Wow.
Like, come on, man. Can't twerking in front of Planned Parenthood. Like, come on.
What?
Some of it is distasteful, man. Like, some of it is not even like, like, we're not trying to say that you can say what we get it. You know what I'm saying? But hey, come on. Somebody at another level has to be like, okay, yo, this is beyond shock value. I get it, man. That was like the whole, like you said, Terminator going through the police station, shooting it up. Shock value. No one has ever done that in film, right? That was really what it was. They create shock value. I get it. We do that, but this is just it's beyond the pale. Like you would never see any other community do anything remotely close to that. Just ours. And the question is, like, if it's why is it always okay for us to promote our own self-destruction?
Yeah, that's I mean, that's what we're bringing today, man. Like these questions, like some real questions that, and I can honestly say this was a difficult topic to talk about.
Because now you have to ask yourself now too, because we're producers, man. We create this music, man. Like we've created music, man. Like, you want to go through some of our titles, rapping and robbing. Right? What are some of the other ones? Shooters on standby.
Let my nuts hang.
Think about these things, man. Like these Leatherface. Like, think about this. Like these are not. We help to recreate some of this backdrop. We're just, we don't have control over what the artist is going to spit on it. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like, people will start pointing the finger and start saying, hey, you're responsible for this shitty culture. You did it too. Like, you made that you made that beat so hard that made me drive fast, or that made me want to pack my gun. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's the psychosis of the algorithm, man. And when people start to really realize it, like, yo, we are literally under control. Like, it's like Like now you see why your boy out there going crazy. Like, you know, excuse me, I shouldn't even say that, but why they say he's out there going crazy is because listen, it's like everything is algorithmic. You know, I can literally put something in your feed and we know you either buy it, get angry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's always going to invoke some sort of emotional reaction. They got it down to a science. Like it's nothing. Like they know. Like if we put these words together or these images together, it's a wrap. Like, you know, we're going to invoke some sort of movement. Something's going to happen. But it's one of those things. I hope that we can understand that, you know, we're asking if hip hop music is, excuse me, as if it's destroying the black community.
Yeah, hit us up in the comments. We really want to
what do you
your guys' thoughts and opinions on this topic specifically, man. Like, this is one of those topics that like is man, we don't have the answers to.
You don't have the answers, and you won't know for another decade or another generation to see, you know, the effects. Like, you know, we're talking about now between this time, we're getting ready to go into a very weird winter. They're saying basically after the election, the prices of everything is going to go up. They're basically talking about, you know, Russia and wanting to the war business. How does that affect black folks? Because, you know, we're already at a certain level on the totem pole, you know, like
we're too busy twerking and shooting at each other to know what the hell is going on.
Yep. It's
too
real.
Distracted.
So we can't even prepare ourselves for what's coming. You know what I'm saying? Like how do you survive what's coming? Can you add on another 10% of inflation? How do you survive that? You know? I don't know. It's like it's you know, we're in a weird space right now, and it's trying to figure out like what makes sense, and there's so much money being made. So that even makes it even more weird. It's like millions and billions of dollars is being made, but still no progress. It's a very, very, very weird space that we're in. You know?
That's our time.
That's our time, right?
Yeah.
Hit us up at www.arkatechbeats.com. Follow us at arkatechbeats.com. At Arkatech Beats on all major platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Till next time.
Peace.
Arkatech